So friends, hope you are going well for the preparation of the upcoming exams. Okay, and I think all you have seen my previous video for the first chapter of environmental engineering, that is water supply engineering or water demand. And I think you have a clear idea now about the water demand, and in any examination if you face any question, then you will clearly answer it. Okay, now today I have come with the second chapter, but to start with the chapter, I mentioned that what textbook I have used. Okay, I have used this water supply engineering volume 1 of environmental engineering by S.K. Garg, this textbook, and environmental engineering by P.V.N. Rao. Okay, by P.V.N. Rao. These two textbook I have used for making the notes. Okay, so let's start with the second chapter, that is sources of water, hydrological concept and study of surface sources. Before starting the chapter, I am telling you that I think all you have subscribed my channel, or if you have not subscribed my channel till now, please subscribe my channel so that you will get the notification for the upcoming video automatically. Also, this will be very much fruitful for any exam, that means WPSC, AE or JE or SSC JE. In any exam this will be fruitful to you also. And also to mention that I think I will cover maximum of the syllabus in any exam in gist form, so that you will easily get it and this material will be easily available to you for your preparation in the examination. Okay, so let's start with the second chapter. The first topic is the surface sources. Okay, what are the surface sources for water? These are ponds and lakes, streams and river, storage reservoirs and oceans. Okay, this question may come in an option form, option A, B, C, D, this type of question. Okay, and what are the subsurface sources or underground sources? Those are springs, infiltration galleries, infiltration wells and tube wells. This spring, infiltration gallery, infiltration well, these are the chapter in hydrology and irrigation also. Okay, so we will discuss it in detail there. Now today mainly I will discuss about the surface sources. Okay, now type of precipitation, as I mentioned that some hydrological concept is there. Okay, but maximum hydrological concept I will discuss in detail in the hydrology. Okay, so here the main thing only I am discussing, that is types of precipitation. What are the different types of precipitation that may be asked in the question, in the examination? First one is cyclone precipitation. Okay, listen carefully, that it is caused by the lifting of an air mass due to the pressure difference. Okay, so due to the pressure difference, mainly this cyclonic precipitation causes by lifting of an air mass. Okay, it is of two types. What are those two types? That is non-frontal cyclonic precipitation and frontal cyclonic precipitation. Okay, and in which part in India it is generally occur? It is responsible for winter rains in Punjab and Haryana in India. Okay, so now you have a clear picture about this cyclonic precipitation. So if any question or if any interview, if anything is asked, then you may at least tell this, because there are lots of things to discuss, but as here I am presenting you the gist of the syllabus, so I am just touching it. Now next is convective precipitation. What is this? It is due to the upward movement of the air that is warmer than its surroundings. Okay, mind the difference. First one is a pressure difference. It is caused lifting of air mass due to the pressure difference. Now this is the upward movement of the air that is warmer by the surroundings. Okay. Generally, this kind of precipitation occurs in tropics. So, these are two types of precipitation. Now, I will discuss the third type. The third type is orographic precipitation. What is this? It is caused by air masses which strike some natural tropical barriers. Okay, like mountains. So, listen the points that it is caused by air mass which strike some natural tropical barrier like mountains and cannot move forward. Okay, so it is being stuck, hence rise up, and then it causes condensation and precipitation. So, in a gist, what is this? That first it is being strike the natural tropical barrier like mountains and then cannot move forward, then rise up, then condensation and precipitation is occurred. This is the orographic precipitation and it is responsible for most of the heavy rains in India. Okay, so this is mainly occurs, this type of precipitation mainly occurs in India for heavy rains. Okay, so these three type of precipitation mainly I have covered so that you have a little idea of this in a gist. Okay, now next is runoff and yield of basin. Okay, also I am telling you that this runoff is a vast chapter in hydrology also. Then in details I will discuss in hydrology chapter. But here for the environmental purpose, some basic things are here. Okay, so be careful. Now, what is runoff? In a simple language, to any layman, if you ask what is runoff, then it is only the difference between rainfall and the losses, or in other term, precipitation or the losses. So, rainfall minus losses is called runoff. What are different type of losses? That is evaporation losses or percolation losses. Okay, so this is called runoff. Now, the difference between runoff and yield of basin, here I will discuss. The runoff or the stream flow is generally expressed as the instantaneous rate or the average rate of flow for short period. Mind it that for short period I am mentioning it, such as cubic meter per second. Okay, so the runoff or stream flow is generally expressed as the instantaneous rate or the average rate of flow for short period. But when it is expressed over long periods such as million cubic meter per year or yearly runoff in centimeter depth over the catchment, then it is termed as yield of the drainage basin. So you can get the idea about the difference between runoff and yield of basin. That runoff is for short period such as cubic meter per second only, but this yield of drainage basin is for long period such as million cubic meters per year, okay, in centimeter depth over the catchment, that is expressed as capital QY. Okay, now the estimation of runoff and yield of basin. Here you may know or you may heard about the what that English formula. This may often asked in any examination. Okay, that what is English formula and what is its uses. So now you can tell that English formula is used for the estimation of runoff or the yield of basin. Okay. Now what is English formula? That is capital QY equals to 0.85 PY minus 30.4 for hilly catchment, and for plain area this will be capital QY equals to capital PY into capital PY minus 17.8 by 254. These are the expression for the QY, where capital QY equals to yearly runoff in centimeter depth over the basin and capital PY equals to yearly precipitation or the annual rainfall in centimeter. Okay, so English formula is used for the estimation of runoff and yield of basin, and the formula is this. So please remember only this formula for the estimation of runoff and yield basin. Now the other formulas for estimating that yield of basin or runoff are Khosra's formula, Justin's formula, Vermoull's formula, runoff coefficient formula, Barlow's table and Lacey's formula. Why I am mentioning it? Because in any examination, if you are being asked that where this formula are used, then you can at least answer that this formula are used for the runoff and yield of basin estimation. Okay. Now the next thing is remarks on surface sources of water supplies. So these are the main points which I have jotted down by going through in detail in the textbook, and for you only I have made this. Okay. Now some remarks on surface sources of water supplies. Okay. As previously I have told you that what are the surface sources of water supplies, that ponds and lakes, oceans, surface reservoir, and also rivers or channels. Okay, so those are the surface sources of water supply. Now by going through detail in the textbook, I mentioned, I have jotted down some important lines so that this one liner you can remember, and in examination generally this one liner are being asked. Okay, so what are those one liners? First one is, the quality of water in a lake is generally good and does not need much purification. Okay, this is the first one. Second one, larger and older lakes however provide comparably purer water than smaller and newer lakes, because it takes so much time for the sedimentation for larger and older lakes. Number 3, self-purification of water due to sedimentation of suspended matter, bleaching of color, removal of bacteria, etc. makes the lake's water purer and better. Okay, so here in the lake self-purification occurred by this process. And now the next thing is, also in the still water of lakes and ponds, the algae, weed and vegetable growth take place freely, imparting bad smell, taste and color to the water. So all these are positive. This is also a negative point, that because of the still water, algae, weed and vegetable grows, so it imparts bad smell, taste and color to the water. Okay. Now, due to the smaller quantity of water available from the lakes, they are not considered as the principal source of water supplies. Got the point? Why lakes are not considered as the principal sources of water supplies? Because of smaller quantity of water available from the lakes. Okay. Now the last point is, the quality of water obtained from rivers is generally not reliable. Okay, as it contains large amount of silt, sand and a lot of suspended matter. So all these 6 points are based on the surface sources of water supplies. Okay. Now the important thing, that storage reservoir as surface sources of supplies. Okay. Now points to be remembered for selection of dam. You just remember this point. Okay. Only few points I have mentioned. There are lots of points, but only few important points here I have mentioned. That is, suitable foundation must be available. For economy, the length of dam should be as small as possible, and for a given height, it should store the maximum volume of water. I think all these points, if you listen carefully and see the video in full, it will automatically be remembered. Okay, and you will automatically answer the question asked in the examination or in the interview. Okay. Now see, the general bed level at dam site should preferably be higher than that of river basin. Okay. Fourth one is the most important. A suitable site for the spillway should be available in the near vicinity. Because the best dam site is the one in which a narrow, deep gorge is separated from the flank by a hillock with its surface above the dam. This is the most important point about the selection of a dam site. What is this? I am repeating. The best dam site is the one in which a narrow, deep gorge is separated from the flank by a hillock with its surface above the dam. Okay. Now I am coming to the storage capacity of reservoir. Okay. The main function of a reservoir is to store water and thus to stabilize the flow of water. Got it? The capacity of reservoirs on dam site is determined from the contour maps of the area. Okay. So first this area should be calculated by using the planimeter. You all know that by planimeter we can compute the area. So first determine the contour maps of the area. Okay. The contour elevations and the area enclosed at respective elevation can be plotted in the form of a curve called area elevation curve. Here I have plotted those area elevation curve. Okay. You can see it. In the black ink I have drawn this area elevation curve. Okay. This is the water spread in 1000 hectares and this is the elevation and this is the curve. Okay, you just keep in mind this curve. Okay, what is the x-axis, what is the y-axis and the form of the curve. Okay. Now the integral of the area elevation curve is the elevation storage or elevation capacity, and this is drawn by the pencil is the elevation capacity curve. Okay, this is the elevation capacity curve, and here in the x-axis the capacity in volume, that means in million hectares meter, are being drawn. Okay, so you can get it that this is the area elevation curve and this is the capacity elevation curve. Now if the topographic map is not available, okay, so in that case, in absence of topographic maps, the capacity is computed by Prismoidal formula. What is this Prismoidal formula? That is volume equals to A1 plus AN plus 4 into A2 plus A4 plus dot 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 up to the last number plus 2 into A3 plus A5 plus dot 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 whole into the elevation H. I am telling you that A1 means area in the first plot, because by surveying you can get so many plot. So first one is A1 and the last one is AN, and these are the even numbered area, that means A2, A4, A6, A8, and these are the odd numbered area. Those are A3, A5, A7, A9. Okay. So first A1 plus AN plus 4 into A2 plus A4 plus dot 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 plus 2 into A3 plus A5 plus dot 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 whole into H. In surveying you can get the details, and please remember that in 2007, in 2012 this question was asked in survey. I will tell you that time in details. Okay. Next is that storage zones of reservoir. There are some definition. As I told you in my previous video that in gist means there are some curves, there are some definition, there are some example, there are some derivation, there are some numerical formulas. Okay. So here comes the definition. Now first one is normal pool level or maximum conservation level. What is this? It is the maximum elevation to which the reservoir water surface will rise during the normal operating conditions. So this is nothing but the crest of the spillway, okay, or the top of the spillway level is the normal pool level, okay. Now next one is minimum pool level. What is this? It is the lowest water surface elevation that has to be kept under the normal operating condition in a reservoir, okay. So this definition you just keep in your mind. Now useful or dead storage. This is also called live storage, okay. So live storage and dead storage. The volume of water stored in the reservoir between the minimum pool level and the normal pool level is called useful or live storage, okay. This live storage actually is being used in the spillway rather in the dam, okay. So please remember that the volume of water stored in the reservoir between the minimum pool level and the normal pool level is called the useful or live storage. And what is dead storage? Water storage in the reservoir below the minimum pool level is known as dead storage. This water cannot be used anytime because it is always below the minimum pool level. That means below the spillway bottom level, okay. So this water cannot be used anytime. Every time live storage is being used. Now maximum pool level. It is the maximum level to which water rises during the worst design flood. Mind this word, that in case of worst design flood, the water rises up to maximum level. So that maximum level is called maximum pool level, okay. Now surface storage. The volume of water stored between the normal pool level and the maximum pool level is called the surface storage, okay. Now bank storage. Here I am giving you all the definitions so that you can easily remember it and you can revise it. Now what is bank storage? When the reservoir is filled up, certain amount of water seeps into the permeable banks, okay. This water comes out as soon as the reservoir gets depleted. This volume of water is also known as the bank storage, okay. So bank storage is nothing but the seepage water which seeps into the permeable banks, and also it comes out when the reservoir gets depleted. Now valley storage. What is valley storage? Even before a dam is constructed, so before the construction of the dam, certain variable of amount of water is stored in the stream channel. That is the valley storage. So this is the normal or natural stored water in the stream channel. Before the construction of dam, it also may be there. So that is called the valley storage. Now this is the ultimate expression that you should remember, that effective storage for flood mitigation equals to live storage plus surcharge storage minus valley storage corresponding to the rate of inflow to the reservoir. So I have given the triple star. Please remember this expression because this plus minus and this component may be confused. So please remember that what is effective storage, that is for flood mitigation effective storage equals to live storage plus surcharge storage minus valley storage corresponding to the rate of inflow to the reservoir. Now the catchment yield and the reservoir yield. You just listen the term and try to keep in mind at least whatever you can, okay. The annual inflow to the reservoir is called catchment yield. I am giving in a simple language so that you can remember it. That what is catchment yield? The annual inflow to the reservoir is called the catchment yield and is represented by the mass curve of inflow, okay. And the outflow from the reservoir is called the reservoir yield. So reservoir yield is the outflow from the reservoir and is represented by the mass demand line. You keep in mind this term, mass demand line or mass curve of outflow. So reservoir yield corresponding to mass curve of outflow or mass demand line, and catchment yield corresponding to mass curve of inflow. Okay. Now this is trap efficiency. Eta. What is eta? That is the total sediment deposited in the reservoir divided by total sediment flowing in the river. Okay. Generally it is 95 to 100%. Generally the value of eta remain. Now the last one is the capacity inflow ratio. It is the ratio of the reservoir capacity to the inflow of the water in it. Okay. And this eta is the function of capacity inflow. And I have here drawn the curve log, that capacity inflow in log and trap efficiency. Okay. And this is the form of the curve. So please remember the form of the curve. This will be the form of the curve. Okay. So this is the second chapter for the environmental engineering. Next day I will come with the third chapter. Okay. So I think all these things are very fruitful and very much useful for you, because in this 20 or 22 minutes you can get the whole concept, and as you are listening in carefully, this will be kept in mind, and if possible you can write it down so that it will be extra benefit to you. So that's all for today. So please subscribe the channel to get the upcoming notifications. Okay, and please share this video so that your friends also will get benefited. So thank you very much and all the best for your future endeavor.